Hi there, I'm Carmen Lantain again with Online Pilates, and today we've got a real treat. Today I have my good friend and one of my students, Carrie McDonell, with me, and we are going to have a conversation about what it's like to be a home owner or have a home Pilates studio. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carmen.
So, first of all, why don't you let us know a little bit about your Pilates journey and maybe how you came to coming to be a homeowner or a home studio.
Okay, so I've been teaching Pilates since 2014, and my first introduction to Pilates was with you, which is pretty crazy. That was 12 years ago, I think, so we go way back. And I initially started teaching at a clinic. I had a home studio, but like a very small home studio with just a reformer and a Wunda chair. And then we moved to a new home, and our new home had the separate studio space, and yeah.
Right on,
Yeah.
right on. So it's kind of followed you as you've had your home.
Yeah, definitely.
Idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So having initially, obviously, I had the space to do my own work, and to have my own reformer there, and to keep fit and all of that. And then I would teach the odd client in home, but then now where we are, we have the space, and
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. So what is then the name of your studio?
The name of my studio is Love of Movement Pilates, and I'm in Cobble Hill, BC, so on the west coast of Canada.
Okay, and so for those that don't know Cobble Hill, what would be the main city that's nearby?
Victoria, so we're about 45 minutes north of Victoria.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great, and I've been to it, and it's amazing. So how did you come up with that name?
That's a good question. I think I tried to find a name that sort of resonated with me and why I chose Pilates and what I wanted to bring to my clients, and it's movement. And I know in my own body and in my own mind that my movement practice has been hugely beneficial to how I feel emotionally and physically, and I love it. So, love of movement.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I came up with Online Pilates, although I get people saying, is it A-L-I-G-N or A-L-I-G-N-E-D? And I just didn't think that through. But, you know, I just thought about alignment, and that's how I came up with my name, too.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool. So what kind of apparatus, or first of all, maybe name some of the manufacturers that you work with and what kind of apparatus you have in your home studio.
So I have solely Grotz equipment, and I have a Cadillac, I have 2 reformers, I have 2 ladder barrels, spine correctors, small barrels, Wunda chair, baby chair, electric chair, pedipole, and then some little bits and pieces.
Yeah. So, and that's almost a full suite.
It is.
What are you missing?
A guillotine.
A guillotine.
And Carmen likes to remind me that I have space.
That she has a beautiful space for that guillotine.
Yeah, get ready, Grotz. My order's coming. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so what types of service, being a home studio, and with what you mentioned for your apparatus that you have, what services can you offer?
Well, we do privates, and we could do duets, and then I do small group classes. So small group mat classes I limit it to 4 people in a mat class, and then small group equipment classes as well. So that's for more experienced students who are able to work on their own independently, and of course I'm there because we have the 2 reformers and the Cadillac. We don't have enough for a full class, but not a lead class, I guess is the best
I was going to say, so do you kind of play like hot potato? You get 15 minutes here,
definitely,
off, or do you sort of come up with a theme for that class and then they work on that?
I'd say more of a hot potato, but as you said, the theme, I was like, oh, that would be a good idea. That's a great idea. That's why you're my teacher and mentor.
Yeah, okay.
She's so smart.
Great. Yeah, so it's interesting having a home studio space. And we sometimes, I know when I had like a Line Pilates start, in my home, and I had that for like years.
Yeah.
Till of recent time in a commercial space, I always felt like I was limited to what I could offer.
Right.
But really the sky's the limit if we know what we're teaching, we can really work the room with the clients.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So how do you balance, or that work-home balance, how do you find that?
I think that the balance has really happened for me having the separate space now, because I've been able to really have a clear line of home and work, whereas before, when the studio space was in our home, because we have 3 young children, well, not young anymore, I guess, but 8 and a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. There's always noise in our house, cat and a dog, so someone's always fighting with someone. And that was difficult for me. And so, but now with the separate space, I don't hear those noises, and it's very much, I've gone to work and I can say that to my family. And so that's helped a lot. And then the balance part of it for me is being able to have more flexibility with my schedule, because I don't have the travel time, because we are in a more rural area. I spend a lot of time driving my kids to activities and school, and to not have to drive to work has been a huge time saver for us, and it's just helped balance life for sure.
Good, good. And yeah, I guess I didn't ask you this ahead of time because I sort of prepped her, but you just brought up something that I thought about. Because you're in a more rural area, how do you deal with like a Swiss cheese sort of schedule?
Well, I like that in some ways. I mean, obviously I don't want to teach for an hour and have a break for an hour and teach for an hour, but ideally, because I am so close to home, being right here, if I have a 2 or 3 hour teaching morning, I can come in, I can clean up whatever's left, I can do laundry, I can do school pickup, or do volunteer at the school, or whatever it is that needs to happen in the course of our day, and then go back to work to teach for a few hours in the afternoon. So it works ideally for me now at the stage of life that I'm in, with young kids and a husband that is away, and
Yeah, I think that's really cool about our career, this path. It sort of evolves with us.
Definitely.
And I mean, when I started out and the kids were small and the studio space was in the home, I mean, I couldn't offer the 9 a.m. class, you know. We had to start at 9:30, 10 at some times. And now I'm able to go in at like 7:30, 8 o'clock if I need to.
Yeah.
So I think having it at home, you get to set your time. I suppose that will bring in clients who they either work with you at that time, or they don't.
Or they don't. Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
You can only be available when you're available.
That's right.
And you just have to set those boundaries. And
that's really great. Good. So what do you think is the best thing? Well, we kind of touched on that, but having a home studio.
The best thing.
You've worked, sorry to interrupt you, but you've worked in both settings.
Yes, I have. And I think the best thing for me is being able to have that proximity to home and jobs that need to be done here. I think that, it all happens to us as teachers. Life happens to our clients. Someone's sick, their car breaks down, and you have a gap in your schedule, like you're saying, Swiss cheese. Well, when I'm here, I'm not sitting in the studio thinking, oh my goodness, I could be at home right now preparing a meal or whatever it is, because I'm able to actually, that's okay, that happens, and I can go on with the other part of my life that needs, or I can work out, which you can do in your own studio, but if you have a holy day, you can only work out for so many hours.
That's true. That's true, but I think you answered a really good thing and a feeling that I've had in the past. It was like, idle time, idle hands. And then I realized that this is maybe where I'm supposed to be at with this. And, no, I don't have a full, 5 hour teaching, 1 hour break, 5 hour. I use that time to learn more with online teaching with my mentors.
For sure.
I still would perhaps say I'm working, but I'm not, maybe I'm lesson planning or
Yes.
working on some projects.
Totally.
But yeah, that flexibility. And as you say, you're a hop, skip, and a jump to doing the dishes and getting the meal on the table.
Lucky me.
Yeah, lucky you and lucky all the family. So that's great. So what about for someone who is just maybe they've worked in the workforce in terms of a commercial space, and they're thinking about going home to do it, and also maybe someone who's just a new student who wants to open their space. Can you talk about what advice perhaps you could give to them?
Yeah, I think I would just say I would list negatives, because there are negatives. Like I said before, when my studio was in the house, you have to be considerate of noise that's happening around, because it can be a distraction to you as a teacher, but also to clients, right? And our clients are there and they're there for our time, so we have to respect that. So having a space that does protect both you as a teacher and your client as a student. I don't know what else I would say about that. Like,
I suppose if you're like trying to regulate your noise level, and you being your own business owner in your own home, then you can say, okay, at this time I know the kids are not going to be home.
Totally.
Or like me, when hockey season's out and I don't book clients, because that's when everyone was like, making a lot of noise in the other room.
Yeah,
so
totally.
So you're not really, you can set the tone for that schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And
having clear lines too, right? Some people work really well with we're pretty lucky as Pilates teachers to do what we love, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have a pretty special job.
Yeah.
And there's so many benefits to it, but at the same time, if you're someone who may be inclined to get burnt out, or there are going to a studio, a commercial space, or there are benefits to that as well, right?
Certainly. Yeah. And certainly we're just looking at how it would be if someone wanted to open, or that, because I've done both, and where I am in my life right now, the commercial space fits well. Reflecting back, maybe knowing who I was as a person and my personality, perhaps that line in that, or that dividedness should have happened a little sooner. Right. But whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it sort of evolves as it evolves. Just going back to one thing about because as a home studio owner back in the day, I used the paper and pencil system.
Yes.
And then when I got more clients, it started to get a little bit like hairy.
Yes.
What kind of system do you use?
I'm using Acuity, so it's an online booking system.
I've heard a lot of great things about Acuity.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah.
This is not a sponsored ad for Acuity.
It allows me to control my schedule. Most online booking systems do that. You set the times that you're available. So I send out a direct booking link. So I don't want somebody just booking in off the street. Like, I'd like to have a conversation with clients prior to them coming to me for the first.
So they can't go into the loveofmovement.com and go in and
but they can email me. They can book a time, and I get notification, and then I contact them. But it's not like they're gonna come to me without
some prior talk,
because I'd like, it is my home, right? Ooh. So that is something that you need to think about.
That just you just touched on some other thing, like, we are inviting people into our home, and
definitely
we hope that people who want to do Pilates aren't like some weirdos that are going to do some weird thing, but we don't know, so it's a good way to screen them before inviting them in your home.
Definitely.
Because sometimes your spouse isn't with you and you are alone.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good
But the great thing about the Acuity is that it gives me notifications. It can link into my home calendar. It can link into, I can even send it to my husband's calendar if there's childcare issues or whatever it can be, right? So there's lots of bonuses to having the online calendar that can be shared, and
awesome. Well, I think that that's so great. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things, and so if you don't, if you live in the Victoria or Victoria Greater area, just check out Carrie McDonell's studio, Love of Move. Is it .com?
Loveofmovement.com.
.com, and the best way. Are you on social media?
On Instagram, I don't have a Facebook profile.
Okay, so
yeah.
you're on. What is that? What's your handle on there?
Love of Movement Pilates.
Love of Movement
Yeah.
Pilates.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Carmen.
Until next time, keep moving. I'm Carmen, and peace.